This is Gail Kovac for Gresham Barlow School District, Summer School, High School Credit Recovery, Algebra 1B, and Learning Target number 6. I can solve quadratic equations using square roots. So, like in Algebra 1A, we are trying to solve for the mystery number P or the mystery number K. We're making sure to do the same inverse operations to both sides of the equal sign to keep it balanced, and eventually isolating the variable. Now there's one big difference here is we've got a special new function that we're going to have to undo. Just like addition and subtraction are inverses, they undo each other. So does multiply and divide. Well, the square and the square root, they undo each other. So we're going to have to consider that when we are unwrapping these equations. So first place, I'm going to start to make sure that I am being fair. I'm going to honor that equal sign and do the same thing to each side. I'm going to draw that line just so I can see those two distinct sides. All right, here's my variable, and I want to get it by itself. And it's been squared, and 10 has been added to it. I need to undo each of those operations. I'm going to go from the outside in. Let's get rid of that 10 first. And what I'm going to do, to get rid of plus 10, I'm going to do the additive opposite, which is minus 10. If I do minus 10 to the left, I had better do it to the right as well to keep things fair and nicely balanced. Plus 10 and minus 10 are opposites and cancel. The only thing that I have left now on the left is p squared. That will be equal to 14 take away 10, which is 4. Now, I've got one operation left to undo. How do I get rid of this little 2 in the corner? Well, the opposite of the square is the square root. I am going to take the square root of both sides. And the square and the square root are opposites, and they will cancel each other out. The only thing that will remain here on the left is p, and now I've got to figure out what the square root of 4 is. So like what a square does, it multiplies that value to itself twice. The square root is asking the opposite, is asking what number could I multiply to itself twice to get 4 as an answer? What times what equals 4? Well, let's see. 2 times 2 equals 4, right? So 2 is a possible answer. However, there is a second answer. Now, it's not 1 times 4 because it's supposed to be the same number times itself twice, and 1 and 4 are different numbers. So what other 2 numbers can I multiply to itself to get me 4? Let's see. Oh, isn't a negative times a negative equal to a positive? Aha! So how to get an answer of positive 4 is also to multiply negative 2 times negative 2. So your answers for P could be either 2 or negative 2. There's 2 possible answers here. And when we get into quadratics, you're going to see those are the 2 places where a parabola will cross over a line. It'll be at 2 and negative 2. That's why there's 2 answers. That's what happens with this magic square thing. You get this curve shape on the graph, and it'll turn around and start going in the other direction again. So now let's try this equation right here. This one's a little bit more complicated because, oh my goodness, 249 is a big number, and I've got this coefficient of 5 in front. It's the same thing. We're just going to have to undo a few more steps first. All right, so I've got my k. It's been squared. It's been multiplied by 5. 9 has been added to it, and I get a result of 249. Let's start doing some inverse operations and make sure we do it to both sides. Let's take care of that outer operation here of plus 9. I'm going to subtract 9. Don't forget to do it to both sides. Plus 9 and minus 9 are opposites, and they will cancel. The only thing now remaining on the left will be 5k squared. And on the right, 249, take away 9 is 240. All right, so there's a couple things I got to get rid of here. I got to get rid of this multiply by 5, and I got to get rid of the square. I am going to now undo this multiplier of 5, that coefficient of 5 out in front with division. I'm going to divide each side by 5 here, and here. Multiply by 5 and divide by 5 are opposites, and they cancel. The only thing that I'll be left with now on the left is k squared, and that will be equal to 240 divided by 5, which is 48. All right, one last step, and we know now that the way to undo this square is with the square root. I'm going to square root both sides to be fair to my equal sign. Squared and square root are opposites, and they cancel. Let's now get our value of k, and k is now asking here, what number can you multiply to itself twice to get 48 as an answer? Well, let's see. 48 was not as easy as the 4 over here. In fact, it's not what we call a perfect square, where you can multiply a whole number to itself to get you something, such as 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25. Well, there isn't an exact integer that you can multiply to itself to get you 48 as an answer, so we're gonna get a decimal. That's when your calculator is going to come in handy. If you're using your phone, don't forget to tilt it to the side so that you can get those special functions like the square root. And I'm going to take the square root of 48, and I've got a long decimal here. I will take maybe a few of those decimal points just to be quasi-accurate. I get 6.928. That's good enough. I know there's more there, but it's approximate. So you know what? I'm going to change my equal sign. I'm going to change it to say that it's approximately equal to instead of exactly. So it's somewhere around here, but not exactly equal to precisely 6.928. Uh-oh, we are forgetting something. There is another value here. Not only does approximately 6.928 multiply to itself to get you an answer of 48, but so does negative 6.928. Negative times negative would also get you that positive 48. So we've got two answers here, 6.928 and negative 6.928. Once you find that positive one, if you're smart, and you'll be smarter than your calculator is only going to show you the positive one, you'll know that that negative one is also an answer. So important to remember here that when you are doing inverse operations, the last one you should do is undoing the square by using a square root, and you're going to have two answers, not just the positive one your calculator gives you, but the negative version as well.